God has been kind of imposing on me to release more information as to the corruption of the United States of America, and specifically the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. It's ridiculous that it has gotten to this point, but it is where we are, and it is the truth, and it needs to be told. So most, if not all, of the FBI agents are actual bots. And by bots, I mean that they are not human. They are actually a creation of the Nazis. And what they did is they made clones. They're robots, but they're in an organic meat suit material, genetic material that was created off of the genetics, the physical genetics of whoever they decided to pull genetics from. But these people were actually grown in a lab. They are not human, and therefore they do not have a soul, nor do they have human emotion. They lack intelligence. Their IQs typically range in the 30s, and they do not have the capacity to process critical information, such as an understanding of law, an understanding of why upholding the law is important. They do not feel compassion, sympathy, empathy, or remorse for anything. This is why the FBI has absolutely no problems running the world's largest human/child sex trafficking ring. They have no problem feeding these politicians, infants, babies, right, to eat on a daily basis. They don't feel anything about it, right? They don't feel any emotion attached to the crimes that they are committing against humanity or against the United States of America and the Constitution. They do not understand the Constitution, and it was not part of their internal programming. They have somewhat of an electronic brain, as they are all controlled. Even though the brain is comprised of organic matter, they were specifically genetically engineered to have an extremely low intelligence quota in the 30s. Perhaps for some of the more intelligent ones, they're in the 40s. They do not have the mental capacity or the intelligence to comprehend the severe damage that they have done to the planet or to humanity. They do know right from wrong. Every person, we'll say person because they are not human, as many people walking around are not. Every person has the inherent knowledge. It is the one thing from God that cannot be removed. The difference between right and wrong. So they know what is wrong, which is why they go to extreme lengths to cover up their own wrongdoing and the wrongdoing of so many others. The Americans believe, the cult believes, that they are immune from prosecution or consequence for breaking any law because, in their own words, there is no one to uphold it. This is the problem with the FBI. They may look like they are human. They may speak as though they are human. You may not understand or realize when you are having a conversation with an FBI agent that they are actually a robot in an organic suit. They do not have intelligence to make their own decisions. They are all controlled by the federal government, by the CIA, and they are all programmed to obey the Nazi regime. And it's not just the FBI. It's not just the FBI that this has occurred with. This is many police officers. This is many judges. This is many elected officials. Many. 92%. 92%. But these people don't have a childhood. They didn't have a childhood. They were grown in a machine and popped out as adults. So they do not have an appreciation for the United States of America. They don't have nostalgia. They don't think about the country. They don't value anything except money. And they are being kept alive by artificial means. The organic suit sustains on food like a human. They are able to eat any food that a human can eat, right? Anything that is edible. And they have specific additional requirements because they do not have a silver cord to God, which is the connection to life source energy. Therefore, they must sustain themselves and their life source energy, which they don't have. They generate it not on their own, but it is generated externally, artificially. So when I say all they're doing is eating, shitting, fucking, and doing drugs, that is what they're doing. They harvest energy from sexual activity, specifically, not specifically, but they harvest energy from sexual activity is one way that they do it. They tap into chakra systems, but they prefer to tap into the chakra systems, not just of living humans, angels, starseeds. They tap into the chakra systems of children via rape. The other means of sustaining themselves is drugs. They're all taking speed, uppers, meth, those types of drugs to keep themselves active and moving around. And there's other ways as well that I am so distraught about I don't even want to get into. But cannibalism is most definitely a means of absorbing, or what they believe they are doing is absorbing the life source energy. But what they don't realize is that they are eating a dead body. Therefore, the dead body does not have life source energy anymore. So the preferred means of harvesting energy is eating children alive. And that is the FBI, folks. That is why they're not taking any action. That is why they refuse to uphold the Constitution. That is why they are absolutely devoid of any sort of emotion or care or thought about life, the life, liberty, and happiness of anyone, even themselves, because they were popped out of a machine. Do you understand? They're a robot, right? They're a robot comprised of organic material controlled by electronic means, a Neuralink, okay? And they are programmed specifically to obey the Fourth Reich and anything that they want, anything that they need. I call them Diddy Party security, because that is exactly what they are. They have no appreciation or value for human life because they have no emotion. They don't appreciate or value this country because they're robots. They're not actually human beings. They just look like humans, but they are not human. And that is 92% of the federal government, right? The rest of them just chose with their free will to participate in this disgusting Nazi experiment and destroy the entire country, actually the entire world. So God was